It's happened. The Ico is here. What is the Ico, you ask? It's a game from 2001, action-adventure, released on the PlayStation 2. Wait, what? It's not the game from PlayStation 2? There's a new Ico? Fuck. Okay, not the PlayStation 2 Ico. I mean the Squad Ico, the infantry combat overhaul. Or as the internet and people on Reddit have decided to call it, we're just going with Ico. This is what everyone's been talking about lately, and so I figured I'd make a video and jump on and give my thoughts about it. So if you haven't been keeping up with the Squad news, if you've been out of the loop, let's have a recap. So we've had 8 playtests. One of them, the 5th one, had a kind of a crazy bug in it. They made it a one life mechanic. They made it that whenever you, well, they didn't make it intentionally, but whenever you died and you clicked give up, your game would crash and change your desktop background to look like this. Basically, OWI feel like they've strayed from their original vision of the game. They said in their blog post that they were tempted away by prevailing shooter trends and a desire for broader appeal. They're trying to get more people to buy the game, make it more appealing to everyone, make more money. Maybe there's a bit of a Tencent stuff going on in there as well, who knows. The original vision was using teamwork, communication, coordination to win, just like how Project Reality was set out to do. But as the iterations of Squad have gone on, it's gone a bit too much in the direction of Call of Duty and Battlefield. Like you can do a lot of solo one-manning. If you know how to play the game properly, you can look at the map, analyze, see where the enemy are, decide to do a flank of your own, set up in a bush, get your scoped MG out, and just get shit tons of kills and flank the enemy. They wanted to get rid of this playstyle, so they've done the infantry combat overhaul. They've wanted to make the game more realistic with scope play, but they're trying to force the game design so that people are playing more together as a squad. They're hoping that with all these changes, people have to use teamwork and play together. So specifically, what have they changed? So movement speed. I went in and tested 4 different movement speeds. I did sprinting at full stamina, sprinting with no stamina, walking, and walking while reloading. I tested that in the old live version of Squad, pre-ICO, and I tested it in the updated version of Squad with Ico. And I found that the movement speed overall been reduced by about 15%. And they've made reloading while walking incredibly slow, like it's 50% slower now. So I did some ADS testing too. It turned quite complicated because calculating ADS times for the pre-ICO version of Squad was quite easy. It was just time from the gun starts to move to time when the gun stops moving. But for the Ico, there's the time until it takes so that you can see through the scope clearly. But then there's also a bit of time after that because the gun is still moving around a fair bit. So I've done time until you've got a clear sight picture and time until you've got a steady scope. ADSing has been slowed down significantly, which I'm not against, to be clear. I don't mind this change. I did some testing on the sway. You can see here the sway when you don't have any stamina in the new version is horrible. Like you are all over the place. You need to go find a medic immediately. Compared to the pre-ICO, the sway when you don't have any stamina is kind of reasonable. You can just about work with it. Sway when you do have stamina is reasonable. I can see how the sway when you do have stamina pre-ICO is too OP. The scopes how they used to be were just so strong. Like everyone would always pick a scope, always. If there wasn't a scope to pick, you're fucked. I get why they're adding more sway. It's all to do with extending firefights. On scopes, I can see it making sense. But the sway on the holographics and the red dots still feels kind of rough. I'd like to see the sway on those reduced slightly so we've got more of a reason to take those optics. Recoil has been boosted quite a lot as well. This makes the landing follow-up shots really hard, especially with the G3 or anything that's a battle rifle. If you take one shot, you're suddenly really unsteady. It's really hard to accurately land follow-up shots, which again, this is all in the direction they want to go. They don't want you to be doing lone wolf stuff. They want you to be working as a squad so you have multiple people shooting the enemies and taking them out. One of the annoying things with the Sway at the moment though is sometimes you just get no sight picture whatsoever. If you've been shot, if you're making your way back to a medic, you've got very little stamina, you suddenly see an enemy, you bring your gun up to ADS and you want to start shooting, but sometimes you just got no sight picture, just like in this little clip here, where I see an enemy, he's close, I think I'm going to have enough time to ADS because he hasn't seen me yet. ADS, shoot him, but I ADS, I've got no stamina, I then decide to crouch, which just lengthens the amount of time that I get. Just no sight picture, and he turns and kills me. So that's probably partly me needing to learn to change how I play.
Change your fucking play style.
Let's talk about OWI's goals. To quote their blog post, to facilitate longer shootouts, we need to reduce the odds of them ending in 1 or 2 shots. They want to stop the game being a twitch shooter. They want it to be slow, methodical, teamwork. So to have a successful gunfight, you need to be with your squad. Superiority in numbers is going to be even more key. The team that has more people, more likely going to win. If you've got less people, probably going to lose.
How did I die there?
They've added a new point fire mechanic, so wherever the barrel of the gun is now pointing, that's the direction it's going to shoot. If you take a look at this little test here, you can see I'm running. As I start to shoot, the gun does a spray from the bottom left up to the middle, so now it actually takes time for the gun to be raised and for the bullets to actually go straight into you instead of them just always going bang straight in the center. So that makes this a really good addition. For a game that is supposed to capture combat realism, this is something I found on the website, it's pretty frustrating getting killed by an enemy. You barely get a chance to see their gun point at you. Like, they come around a corner, their gun's down, and the next moment you're dead.
Dude!
Machine guns are getting nerfed into the floor. They're being changed from a fully automatic sniper to mainly acting as suppression. Suppression's taking on a much bigger role in this update. Machine guns used to be, you could bipod and you could just lay down laser beam, pinpoint accurate fire. Quite a lot of fun. And again, that's another role where you could easily lone wolf, get a flank, bipod somewhere nice, and just mow the enemy down. Yeah, so when you're bipoded now, it's no longer a complete laser beam, it does have a significant amount of spread. The first few shots are pretty on target, but the rest are probably going to miss. You can still be effective, you can still get people killed. At the beginning of the playtest, the spread was insane. Thankfully they have toned it down. If you do short bursts, then you can actually be super effective, and if you want to just suppress, you can just suppress and spray bullets in that general area. So it's not terrible, but just be aware that it's nerfed into the floor. One thing that's quite jarring with it still, when you get the bipod out and you go ADS, it still looks pretty wobbly. I don't mind the wobbly ADS when you're standing without the bipod, but when it's bipoded and you go ADS and you see the whole gun kind of jiggles, like the whole thing just keeps shaking. Picture-in-picture scopes are a big thing that are new. These are really cool, I really like them. Now when you go ADS, the only bit of your screen that zooms in will be the scope, just like in real life. This comes hand in hand with the scopes looking quite different on the screen, even though they're the same model. When you're close up on an object, it can distort how it looks. I'm sure everyone's seen these 360-degree cameras when someone's got one in their mouth, and like their nose and their mouth and their chin area is really close to the camera, so it appears huge. So the downside of all this is the Russian scope looks like complete shit. Like the eye cup takes up now the whole screen, compared to the American M4, where the scope takes up a really nice portion of the screen. They've got a very similar sight picture. The Russian scope sight picture is slightly larger, which does make up for it a little bit. I feel like they've made these sight pictures work. It looks really cool, and the game still works. The way classic scopes have been implemented has always been really annoying to me, where the whole screen zooms in. It just brings me out of the immersion and reminds me that I'm just sitting alone in my room playing a game. I've always wanted to see picture-in-picture scopes in games, feeling that you're actually looking through an optic, and I think I can safely say, for me, Squad has currently got the best implementation of scopes that I've seen in a game. There was an after-hours dev chat live stream that they did about 2 years ago now, where they first teased testing picture-in-picture scopes, and when I saw that, I was like, hell yeah, let's have that in the game. That would be really cool. So I'm very happy to see it's finally in the game. It just makes it feel so much more immersive. In this new update, you've got the sight picture area, and then you've got the area around it which you can no longer see anymore. Your vision has been occluded. You can't see anywhere immediately around the sight picture area until you get further out and you can see your immediate surroundings. It's nerfed the scopes well, so there's even less that you see. If you want to actually see what's around where you're looking, you do actually have to look around with your scope, as opposed to just seeing in the peripheral vision. Suppression is getting changed a lot. In the old style, it would just be a very strong vignette. The closer the bullet is, the stronger the vignette, the more high-powered the bullet is, the stronger the vignette. Now, they've changed suppression a lot. It's like a child has discovered all of Unreal Engine's toys at once. Anything further than a meter in front of you starts to get blurred. Any more suppression than that and your saturation starts to seep out of your image. Any more suppression than that, then you get dust and everything on your goggles or eyeballs, whatever you want to call it, from all the dust being kicked up. It's all very cool. It's super cinematic, especially with the lens blur effect when you see sparks and fire particles out around you while you're being suppressed. It's very cool. What's not so cool or fun is the arm flinch every time a bullet passes by you. So if someone starts shooting at you and you start flinching and you want to try and shoot back, it's really hard to be accurate because as you're aiming, your arms are flinching. So you have to just kind of result in spray and pray while running for cover and hope that he doesn't kill you and hope that you can kill him. And it kind of just turns into 50-50 luck whether or not you can kill him or get to cover. A suggestion that I thought of, maybe the flinches get progressively weaker, so first bullet that goes past you, you flinch. The next bullet that goes past you, you flinch half as much. The third bullet, a quarter as much. And then like just tails off after about 5 bullets. And then maybe reset it after if you've not been shot at for 30 seconds or a minute. Overall though, this new suppression is really effective at making me want to duck and move. And it's a really nice change from the old form of vignetting. The vignette was quite boring and lame. It's not much of a suppression. One thing I'm still unsure about, when you're using a scope though, the sight picture doesn't get blurred when you're suppressed. I don't know if it's working as intended, or if it's a technical limitation or a bug, or maybe they just haven't got around to adding the blur to it yet. I'm not sure.
It's a feature, not a bug.
The overall direction that they're taking I think is very cool. I really like it. I like what they're wanting to do with the game. Great moments in the game for me have always involved teamwork, whether that be teamwork working with the whole squad, or teamwork working with a small fire team of me and 2 others taking out radio, or proxying a hab. For me, teamwork, that's one of the main selling points of the game. One of the main reasons I bought the game is that you work together with people to achieve a common goal. The team that wins is usually the one that uses teamwork the best. If this overhaul can make people use teamwork more and change the way they play, then that's a huge win. More teamwork, more people using teamwork, good.
What a points, mate!
But forcing people to play with more teamwork is a very hard problem to solve. That perhaps is even a cursed game design problem. So there's a talk from the Games Developer Conference called Cursed Problems in Game Design, which explains this idea a lot better than I can. I'll give a quick overview and try to explain it briefly myself. The cursed game design problem is where you've got a conflict between 2 of your core game experiences. An example of a cursed problem would be the skill inflation problem. This happens in a lot of battle royale games like PUBG and Warzone. The game launches, it gets older, the players get better and better. The players that aren't getting better or just played casually end up leaving, and you're left with players who are incredibly good at the game. And after a while, it's hard for new players to join because all of the players around them are just sweats. So here, the 2 core game design philosophies that are clashing are 1, a long journey of mastering the game, and 2, a stable, varied community. A long journey of mastery requires a rising skill pool to play against, and a stable, varied community requires a broad variety of skill levels. These two do not go together. So in Squad's case, our two game experiences are 1. Large-scale war with 50 versus 50 in public lobbies with strangers. 2. Win by using teamwork. Now, trying to persuade 50 strangers to work together to solve a problem is almost impossible in my experience. At least 50% of the time when I'm in a squad of randoms, there is very little communication, if any. I can't see this changing much when the ICO drops, unless everyone does decide to change their playstyle. I feel like forcing teamwork with the ICO is like trying to push two north poles of a magnet together. Now this is where you say, Cheezoid, you have to play on a server as a regular, join a clan, become part of the community. And yes, you're probably right. This helps solve part 1 of the cursed problem. You aren't playing with 99 strangers anymore, you're playing with maybe 30 regulars and 69 strangers. And all of a sudden, you've got more teamwork happening. You've got some fun experiences with friends. Maybe it's time we really see some more quality of life improvements in the game regarding communities. Let's finally have a friends tab in the main menu, a party system. Let's lube up the wheels of being able to play with friends and make teamwork more commonplace. So the playtests and the future of Squad. So my theory on the playtests, there were more people who were actually experienced at the game playing in the playtests. Maybe not the first one, maybe the first one had quite an even mix, but as the playtests went on, you've probably got more experienced people taking part than non-experienced people. This would result in naturally more teamwork happening in games, because the more experienced people know that teamwork means winning. So more teamwork, more enjoyment.
Points make prizes.
The playtests were also new to everyone, so there's an element of novelty to it that people would have enjoyed. And all this enjoyment means that people filling out the feedback form would say, I really enjoyed it, this is good, keep going in this direction. But is that the right direction to go in? Will it be the same in public lobbies once it's released? Will the public lobbies round, once it's released, still be just as enjoyable as the rounds we had in the playtest? After 8 playtests, the later ones are more likely to have people who like the playtest, so they have to be really careful of bias in their results. The green line is people who enjoy the ICO, the red line is people who don't enjoy it. Roughly, as time goes on, you've got less people playing playtests, but the people who don't like the playtests leave quicker than the people who do like it. So naturally, by the time you get to playtest 8, you've got a lot more people who do like it than people who don't like it. Does the larger proportion of people liking it mean the changes that were made were good? Or does it just mean the people who didn't like it have left? So they've got to be really careful of the bias in the results. You must have had it before where you get randomly promoted to an SL.
Oh shit, here we go again.
If no one takes command of the squad, everyone in that squad is going to have a terrible time. The infantry combat overhaul hates lone wolves. Once you get someone not taking control, the squad are just gonna fall apart. Everyone's just gonna go off and do their own thing. How many times do you join a server and you see that there's only one hab up after about 20 minutes of gameplay? I think this will still be a thing. I don't think this will stop happening. I think squad is going to be even harder now for new players. There's even more mechanics to get your head around, and having to play slower. I think we're going to need to see a better tutorial very soon, and they did actually mention a tutorial rework in the recent Q&A, so hopefully that is coming. I think we're going to see people like me who play squad on their own and just join random squads are probably going to have a worse time, because random squads, in my experience, you're much more likely to have less teamwork. Sometimes you'll join a squad and the teamwork will just not be there. Sometimes you'll join a squad and everyone's just talking, and there's no teamwork going on. And less teamwork, less fun.
Points make prizes.
People who play with their clan or community are probably going to have more fun, because they're going to have more teamwork, more fun.
Points.
So I wonder how much will the player count change overall. I think we're going to see a short spike, as with any large update, there's going to be some huge spike. But I think overall, my guess is the player numbers are going to drop a little bit from pre-ICO. Or will the people who don't like it actually change their playstyle to suit the game? Will they say, I've bought it, I still like certain aspects of it, I'm going to keep playing, and I'm going to change the way I play it so I can still enjoy playing this game? So, in conclusion, I'm going to keep playing the game. I think what they're doing is really cool. I really want to enjoy this. In the 8th playtest, I had a pretty good time. I was getting the hang of it by the 8th playtest. Hopefully that wasn't just because everyone playing in that test were actually good at the game. I just hope that squad leaders are going to change the way they lead to suit. We need to see the squad leaders forcing the squad to stick together and make plays together more. If the squad cannot split up, if people split up, they're going to get picked off. Comms are going to be even more important. If follow-up shots are hard on people, people need good comms on the enemy location. This means FTLs, you need to be marking enemy positions. It's really easy, you have the ability. Once you die, just open the map, right-click, put a little enemy helmet marker. The amount of games that I've been in where we're losing and there's almost no enemy helmet marks or anything on the map, it's like, well, surprise, surprise, I wonder why we're losing, because no one knows where the enemy are coming from. One thing that I would have liked to have seen added is a restriction on movement when you're prone. Currently when you're prone, you can spin a 360 as fast as you can swing your mouse. This shouldn't be the case. In the infantry combat overhaul, they should be adding something in that restricts movement while you're prone. That's something that they haven't added that I would really love to see. So my ideal infantry combat overhaul is this. Suppression, yes, I like these suppression changes. Picture-in-picture scopes, yes, 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 I love this. Point shooting, yes, let's keep that. Movement speed changes, yes, this is fine, I don't mind moving a bit slower. The movement speed before this was kind of quite crazy fast, but over the top sway, not quite so much. And the machine gun accuracy, if the spread on the machine guns could just be turned down a little bit more, then I'd be really happy. That would be my ideal infantry combat overhaul. And what about you? This is where I ask you guys a question, so you can put a comment in and all that shit. Do you think teamwork is going to improve? Will players change the way they change the way they play, or are they just going to leave?
Am I so out of touch? No, it's the
devs.
No, we're wrong.
But that is all. If you made it here to the end, then congratulations. I'm sorry this has been a long video, but also if you made it here to the end, who are you?
Who are you?
But thank you. And now, in memoriam, pre-ICO squad.